cross-examination where we ask each other questions. I'll go first. Nathan, do you believe, this is on the topic of miracles, do you believe Thomas Aquinas, called a saint by the Catholic Church, levitated and flew around the nave of the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris? Do you believe that Muhammad was taken up to paradise on a night journey? In the Arabian desert, the horse left a footprint, and from there he was rocketed up to paradise. How can you only say that miracles are true when you're a Calvinist?
Well, again, whether Aquinas flew around the building or not, sure, I can believe it. It's Christian tradition, basically. But if you give me evidence otherwise, sure, I'll believe you that it didn't happen. But the historical annals seem to dictate otherwise. And that's the same thing. The Bible says that miracles happened and all that. But again, he hasn't given me proofs otherwise. And to use logic, reason, and all that, he still must account for them. So yes, until you prove me otherwise, I do believe that Aquinas flew around. Whether someone else flew and shot up to heaven is beyond me. I doubt it because of my worldview. I believe in the Christian worldview, and I believe that it is the only way to be able to function logically, morally, and so forth.
Well, at least I got you to say it. Do you believe that he flew around the nave? So just pressing you even more, we know that Moses and Aaron, the miracle match against the Pharaoh's sorcerers, it said that Aaron outperformed them with the snakes. They beat each other up. The other snakes who returned from rods. All this to say that just because you have a miracle doesn't give you license to say that everything you say is true. I liked what Hume said. You have to ask yourself, if you appear to see the laws of nature suspended in front of your eyes, which is more likely, that they are suspended in your favor or that you're under a misapprehension?
Well, again, in my worldview, there are such things as angels and demons and spiritual forces. Of course, the Pharaoh's priests could perform miracles because they had demonic powers. But in your worldview, you cannot account for either of the miracles. Yet history seems to say that there are, but you haven't given me any reason otherwise. The evidence works in my worldview, apparently.
I mean, you might say in our argument today that you lose. And I would say, why is that? Because my mother was a virgin. One, I know that not to be true because we have the same mother. Two, it wouldn't prove to me that anything you say would be true. You haven't proved your argument to be any better by saying that. It doesn't prove that God is your father. It doesn't prove that you are a better person at all. It's odd, isn't it? If you were on the UT bus next to a Texas student who told you, you know, I was a dead person once, but I'm alive now, would you move towards them or away from them? Not to mention I'm an Aggie, I would always move away from them. But even if I were to grant you that you were once a dead person, it wouldn't prove to me that you have control of the universe or the commands of logic. All your work is still ahead of you. So even though your worldview, I could make up a worldview that fits perfectly to how we have social aspects. It could still all be make-believe. It's a fabrication of sorts.
You say that you can fabricate a religion that is somehow internally incoherent throughout to just account for logic and morals and so forth. But again, that does not give any evidence for your side. Your side says that there is no God, that everything is material, but that still falls apart in the face of logic and morality and so forth. Again, we assume things, and we assume them, and that is how we have to look at competing worldviews, assumptions. I can assume things because I can use logic and reason and morality because I assume. And apparently we have run out of time, so now it is my turn to question you. No, you don't get anything. No, no, don't worry. I get my time now. All right. So, obviously, my question is, do you think the laws of logic are material?
Material. Logic is the attempt by humans to make sense. It isn't a divine endowment. But I suppose that's what faith is to you. The thing you're trying to prove, you assume. I believe in the Bible because it is true. The Bible is true because I believe in it. You just asserted what you were asked to prove. We as atheists don't crave the idea that in the end that there's no hope or purpose in our life, but we are willing to face it because the evidence for the divine seems to be trivial or non-existent.
So if the laws of logic are not material, as you have said, then why does something that fires in your brain, why does it have to say truth about, how do you account for that it says truth about the physical world? How can the thing in here say something true about the thing out here?
Well, it depends what you define as true. Like I said, I don't crave the idea that there is no purpose. I might happen to want to believe that there was a creator. I happen to believe that if it were true, that it would be horrible. As I told you in my opening statement, that it would be a totalitarian belief, unalterable, unchallengeable, and convict you of thought crime. I'm so glad that that's not true. And you haven't given any evidence to say otherwise. It's as I said, the lack of magnificence for the evidence. It seems that your claim that when you point to a verse in the Bible that I have to follow it, truly extraordinary claims such as that require truly extraordinary evidence. And my belief is that I will believe it if you show it. Just as Santa Claus doesn't exist. You haven't given me any evidence to prove that he does. Show me a footprint. Show me a dead deer with a red nose. Show me his sleigh that can fly. You know, something like that.
You still haven't answered the question. How do you account for things like logical laws? You haven't given me any reason to believe that what goes on in here, atoms randomly firing off in my brain because they're subject to scientific laws, why would that say anything true about the world out here? You still haven't answered that question.
Like I said, it could very well be that we could never arrive at truth. All the questions nowadays are still unanswered. How do we treat one another? What indeed are ethics and morals in this universe? It doesn't make any difference for you to be a Christian to tell me that you know because history has proven otherwise. Yeah, we may not arrive at truth. We haven't arrived at truth, obviously, in this world. Like I said, we will still remain with the same questions we have today. I'll repeat it. What indeed are the morals and ethics of our universe today? There's still a great debate on abortion and stem cell research, etc. How do we treat each other every single day? That's what we're, as a society, are still struggling.
We haven't arrived at truth. Then he's given up the debate, hasn't he? Final question, since we only have half a minute.